Hello, this is Hi Bob Warbob, and let's play some Ultimate General Civil War. Hello, and welcome back. Today we are doing the Battle of Antietam, and I am joined once again by Something Compass. Hello, Something Compass.
Hello, this is one of my favorite battles. This is always fun. Going all the way back to when Sid Meier put out Antietam. This has been one of my favorite battles.
Yeah, it's a good one. I liked the CSA side, and the Union side is also quite interesting. It has been quite a while since I fought this battle, so it is almost going to be like I don't even know what's going on, probably.
Well, that it'll be entertaining for both of us.
It will. So I went and looked up how many losses I had before this, and it was around 5,300 and something. So we are looking at a pretty good overall run. What were you saying was the amount that people used to lose?
Oh, these battles, Antietam used to be brutal. I particularly remember CSA Legendary. People would lose half their army back in the old days before we knew what the mechanics of the game were, and people were building artillery units of 24 guns. We had no idea.
Yeah.
Pandakraut really changed the game a lot by just telling us what the mechanics were, and because the devs didn't tell us. And so people would fight desperately, particularly CSA, and they'd come out of it. Even if they got a victory, their army was gone, and they had so few men they couldn't carry on the campaign. So most people were they were just retreating and taking a draw or a loss just so they could go on. Yeah, this was a really bloody battle for both sides on Legendary.
Yeah.
In the early days.
And we were talking about so I bring 135,000 men to this battle, and in your mass army, Brigadier General, you brought over 150,000. So I'm not doing bad, but
yeah, considering the 25 bonus, and I am buying. I think I'm buying. I think in the massive army, I bought. If I didn't buy every purchase of recruits with reputation, I bought almost every one.
Yeah, and I've bought most of them as well. So we're both sitting at pretty much. I mean, the only way that you could probably lose would be if you lost a little bit less. But I mean, I don't see people losing all that much less than what I have. But it's possible. There's some of them like Malvern Hill where I saw somebody do some different things and take only like 800 losses at Malvern Hill, but that was because he basically didn't fight the battle. You just like sweep in and take the flag at the very end. So
yes, and that's how we used to want to play in the very early days, but you don't get any XP if you do that. So it's a trade-off. You can get, if you desperately need to preserve your army, then you think of ways to just snag the victory location and keep your losses down. But the way we play is I'm playing for the campaign, which means I need the max XP I can harvest every battle.
Right.
So snagging the flag is great for that 5 minutes, but it's a disaster for the end game.
Right.
The end of the campaign.
Yeah, I can agree with that, and also just sometimes you obviously are going to make their army bigger, and all those problems as well. So there's multiple issues that you start to run into if you aren't careful about how you approach that problem.
Oh yeah, you can have all of the enemy, manpower pool, armory, and everything else go to the sky, even on Brigadier General, and then just face overwhelming numbers.
Yeah.
At some point, which is possible. So, yeah, one of the things that we try to do now is we have to get these kills to keep the enemy at the bottom of scaling, or some of these battles are just going to be really tough.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Plus, we want the XP. And I want the weapons. I mean, those weapons are, they're not nothing. I want the XP and I want the weapons you get from
Very
the enemy.
true.
Particularly on Legendary, you start harvesting 61s and 63s. Well, about now you should be harvesting Harper's Ferries on Legendary.
So here I'm a little confused, to be honest. Like I thought that this would be a little bit harder than this. Now I do admit I just lost 100 men there, but like I didn't realize that this part of the battle would go so well. Like they don't have anybody over here to stop you.
Yeah, they don't have anybody over here to stop you. You can easily get into this wood line, which is a great position if you want to wait for the rest of your army. That'll work.
Here I do get charged down a little bit, which was a mistake. I should have been more careful there. Shouldn't have gotten quite so close. I had meant to stop a little bit before there because I knew that they could have issues with me and try to charge like this.
Actually, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, great. You're going to pop this guy. This is an opportunity. Anytime any of these guys get out here isolated, it's just a chance to just pop them.
Yeah, but I was looking to actually get in there and actually get into the forest, and instead I'm having to fall back that far. It took a lot of my stamina away and stuff. It's good in the long run, but like I really wanted it to go just a little bit different here.
Yeah, I think you're going to hit him and he's going to retreat way south, and now it's going to be easier to walk into the woods.
It's difficult. I'm struggling with exactly how, because I think I could have done this a lot better. I just am not sure exactly where to make all the changes that I needed to. So like here, like we get into situations here, like why on earth is there nobody in this forest over here to stop you from coming around on their flank? I don't even understand what's going on with the AI.
He didn't have time to get a unit over there. You got there before he did. Sometimes he'll put a unit over there, but I mean, you're just moving on him so fast that he doesn't have a chance. The thing historically was the Union just went down through the fields. So straight line through the fields, stayed out of the woods because that would have broken up their formations, and it was a bloodbath. Because historically, over the Confederate victory location to the left, on that hill was a ton of Confederate artillery that just fired perpendicular into the rows of Union infantry and just tore them to shreds.
Oh wow, yeah, that would be bad.
That was bad, yeah, and all the way down, actually, all the way down south to where your unit is now, just tons of all of his artillery and his cav was back here, and Antietam is just an absolutely brilliant defensive position. And as Hooker, it was General Hooker, as he pushed straight through those fields, and he did, just straight through the fields, not in the woods on either side, down toward Dunker Church, and where the visitor center is today, it was just a slaughter. The Confederates were behind the fence lines. There are nice fence lines there. The corn was taller than a man's head. They couldn't see what they were doing. They were just walking right into blast after blast, after volley, and couldn't see what they were doing. And water. The accounts, these fields over here, you could walk from one end to the other and never touch the ground after the battle was over.
Because all the bodies is what you're saying?
All the bodies.
Yeah,
they died in rows.
It's brutal. So here, I feel like I'm a little bit like too cautious. Like I really should have just like stepped up and got flank shots on these guys and just got them out of there. And instead, I feel like I'm just kind of like trying to tiptoe around them and just. There's some places in there where you can get shots on them without them being able to shoot you back, and I was trying to go for those instead of just getting in there and like getting it over with. And I feel like that was maybe not the best thing for me to have done, because I could have gotten it over with a little bit sooner. Also, I'm like messing with these guys so much, and I'm not actually like paying attention to like all my other guys. The guy up there could have come down into that house right there a lot sooner and gotten shots on all these cav over here. You have to be careful because the fortification there can shoot you sometimes, so you just kind of have to like not go too far forward. But you want to get shots on these cav while they're just standing there. Like, makes no sense to not go ahead and just get them wiped out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you know his reinforcements are going to come from the south.
Yeah.
Are you getting in position? It looks like you're getting in position to hit those guys.
Yep, I am. Early finally decided to get into that fortification, which is a problem. I need to hold fire. Well, I guess he's not reloaded, so he should be fine, I guess.
Yeah, the good thing about this phase is that it's only 6 o'clock in the morning, and you don't have to take the victory location. You don't have to take Dunkard Church.
Yeah, that is always good too. That you don't have to be rushed.
And you're going to get a lot more very important reinforcements. You're probably outnumbered even right now. So here come your reinforcements. Yeah, this is always nice.
I don't know if I'm outnumbered or not, but I don't think they have more units than I have, because I've already wiped out 2 cannons and like half of one of their cav units and like almost 100 off the other one. I'm still having problems with my mouse, it looks like. So the mouse still wasn't fixed after this one. I guess it's the next one where I finally have a new mouse.
Yeah.
Because I'm still having problems with it, like not like actually clicking. Or unclicking sometimes.
My experience with a mouse going bad or running out of batteries is it always seems to happen at the worst time.
Yeah. The new one is so much better though, so I haven't been having hardly any trouble with that. Yeah, once you get into these forests here, all these fortifications are just terrible.
Yeah.
And they keep trying to get back into them, which is hilarious.
Oh,
and
yeah.
At that point, you have like full cover, and they have 0 cover.
And you're hitting them from the rear. Rear.
Yeah.
Which is always a good thing.
Yep, it is. Down there, I think I'm about to get in range of that guy, and I shouldn't be yet. I should have like gone a little bit further south. Yep, see, still having problems. Lovely times. So basically, I leave like where he walked. I like don't even put any men at all. I just leave the center open like that because there's just no reason to. And I basically ran both of these units like almost all the way here, like. So they're both almost exhausted, but it doesn't really matter. Like, and I think I'm gonna set these guys to run too. I should, if I haven't.
I've come to the conclusion that if you don't intend to get into melee, it just doesn't matter if your unit is exhausted or not. You just put them on run and just keep running.
The one thing that it does matter about is that if they're exhausted, then it's harder to get into the positions that you want to in a timely manner. Like, so like if I need to make a change, it's hard to make the change if my units are exhausted. Now, as far as like how much damage they do, yeah, it doesn't really matter.
So what do you mean it's harder to get them into if I need to make a change? Go ahead and just
so like you get your units into position and you set up for a surround and you start firing on them from all angles and everything, and then you try to collapse in on them. The collapse in part is hard to do if your units are exhausted because your units don't move forward into the right positions fast enough. So it like slows down your ability to you can't get into the right position to get the right shot on the right unit at the right time, so then you start taking more losses from units that you just cannot get into position against.
Interesting. So I guess you have these units set on normal speed then as you're doing this.
No, I have them all set to run right now.
No. I mean, when you in the example you gave.
So what you want to do is you want to get rested once once you've started to surround them. Before you actually engage, you get rested, you get to 100% condition, and then you run just a few feet forward. Because by the time you get into the right positions, like they can't like attack you because you're in the right positions. So like where I am in the forest there. So like, let's say I had to run my units to that forest and they got there and they're exhausted right now. I knock all the units out of all these fortifications, but I don't push out of these woods. Because if I were to try to push out of these woods into the clearing there, I would have a hard time getting keeping my units like moving forward, because they would have a tendency to go really slowly across even an open field because of how tired they are. But sitting there is fine. So before I go on the offensive and actually like start wanting to move out of that forest, I want them to be fully rested. And then if units come and like try to get into the fortifications and then I knock them all out kind of at the same time, then that's a good time for those fully rested units to then move forward. Whereas if they were tired, you don't want them to all try to move forward, because you're gonna struggle to like get there in a timely manner fast, like, because you obviously want to be as fast as possible, like whenever you're on the attack and you're having to move across open ground. It's dangerous.
That's interesting, because I haven't noticed a difference in speed with an exhausted unit on run or a unit that has condition on run. They both move really fast.
I mean, so like, I think that the speed that your unit moves at while on run and exhausted is about the same as a unit that is walking and fully rested.
Huh.
So there's no benefit to like setting your unit on walk if it's exhausted, because all you're going to do is walk slow and you're not going to regain any condition anyway, so you might as well have your units on run.
Mm-hmm.
If you need them to move. If you don't need them to move, obviously, very far, well, even if you don't need them to move very far, you might as well put them on run, because then they'll get there faster and then you can rest. It's almost never worth it to like set your units to not run and like let them rest in place. It's almost never worth it to let your units rest before you move them into place. So like if I had a unit at the very top and I wanted to get them to the very bottom of the map, like it's almost never worth it to have him walk that distance.
Yes.
And it's almost never worth it to, like, if I had a unit that was chasing down somebody, he got to the very top of the map and was exhausted, it's not worth it to have them rest all the way up there at the top while exhausted and then move down. It's better just to set the unit on run, tell them to move where you want it to, and behind where you want it to. Like, so you don't want to move to the position where you'll be engaging the enemy. You move to like right next to the enemy, and then you stay there and rest, and then engage whenever you're at full stamina, because then you'll have full condition, because then you'll have you will wasted the least amount of time. You'll be in a position that's better earlier, and also have a chance to be in a position to get shots on somebody. Even if you're at like 80% or less, you'll still be in a good position where you can go ahead and make a difference in the battle, because you're not going to make a difference in the battle if you are all the way at the top of the map. It's just, you're not going to be able to do anything to actually influence the outcome if you're not in position. Here, we basically pushed them all back. I made a mistake of walking too far forward before all my units were down and ready. Now, of course, early runs out after me, and that's, I guess, good for me in a lot of ways, but both their cav are sitting here on the edge of the map, and that's just amazing.
Yeah, just waiting to die. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Early I get to beat him up a bit, but I would have rather not rushed in at that time, I think. I've lost 200 men on this unit, but most of my units have not taken too many losses, I don't think, for the most part.
No, they're doing really well. So, yeah, the reason I mention this is because I'm playing Washington at this time, and it's an unusually large map, and you have to cover a huge distance. And the question is, what's the most efficient way to move across the map? And what I found is, it's a combination of when you have to travel long distances from, huge point A to point B that are much larger than this map we're looking at right now. You run. And you get there, and then you wait 20 minutes in game, and then you're ready to go again.
Right.
And that's much more efficient than just walking. So
I agree.
And you'll see that when you watch my Washington videos, day one. That's a big deal, managing the speed, because there are times when, like, I get into almost all the forts on day one before the enemy is there, or there's nothing in the fort. And particularly on the right side, I get there and there's nothing in the fort at all, because my units ran to the fort. So I have 6 infantry running up to make this charge, and there's nothing there. I mean, not a single unit in the fort. So,
right.
Because he hasn't gotten there yet. And then you can rest the ones that are tired and move the ones that are rested forward, and kind of do this, hopscotch thing where they jump over each other, leapfrog each other. Or in another case, I want to get behind the enemy, just run behind the enemy and then stop and wait.
And of course, like,
condition and then attack.
Almost every single one of your units has like 100 condition at that point. So
oh yeah.
You've got some advantages there too.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to mention. When you're dealing with 3-star units with over 100 condition, it's a whole different thing. My 2-star units, pretty much in Washington, I walk them. Just, their job is to get in place, and then when the time comes, charge into a fortification and break it, like, with overwhelming numbers. They're not part of the maneuver force that does the flanking necessarily, because they just don't have the same condition.
Yeah, your choices for how you built your army was just a little bit off of what I would have done. Like, it was mostly just the fact that, like, in some places, like, whenever you looked at your entire army, like, your entire army basically said that you could have 100 stamina and 100 condition on every single unit. Now, of course, that meant that you would have to drop probably some of your 3 stars to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. But I would rather have like 100 condition and 100 morale on every single unit, I think, than to have like a couple more 3 stars. I think. I don't know if that's just because I'm thinking about it now, but it seems like that would be, and that also gets you the most amount of 2-star possible, because you can almost make a 2-star with just max condition and max stamina. I mean, max condition, max stamina, and max morale can almost get you a 2-star if you have a good general.
Yes.
Which is hilarious, because that's just like way too good for just having had your units in a battle and ran them while they were there. Like, that's all you have to do, and you can have a 2-star. You don't have to have them shoot. You don't have to have them melee. You don't have to have efficiency. You don't have to have, I mean, you have to have a good officer. So you have a good officer, and then you have that, and you can have a 2-star unit, and that's all it takes, which is not hard to do even on legendary. Like, it's really not.
Yeah. Well, Antietam, there's plenty of time. You can do just that. You can run units for hours here.
Yeah.
Easily.
And I think I do some of that. I'm not sure how much of it. I hope that I skip most of it, I think.
Well, at the end, if you don't take the victory location, you can run. Yeah, just. Hours.
Oh yeah, this is the one where I accidentally ran and then ran into all the reinforcements coming in by the Antietam. I mean, or the is that the?
They come in from the south.
They come in from the southwest.
Yes.
And I ran into them in the middle of the map, and I was like, oh well, that's, and it was like a whole bunch of like 1-star units that ran into them instead, that were completely exhausted because I'd been running them around in circles, and all they had was like 42s and farmers. Yeah. And they're exhausted, and I was like, this is gonna be bad. And they're all like 3 stars, 2 or 3 stars, and it's like, I should probably rethink this.
Yes, the pitter patter of little feet is how it was described in a strategy and tactics game about 100 years ago. A.P. Hill coming to the battle to turn the flank of General Burnside and just collapse the Union line that was at that time advancing on Sharpsburg. So yeah, that was a pretty powerful force, a very large, powerful force, and they were all veterans, and they had just re-equipped themselves from the Union Armory at Harper's Ferry. So, and they were eager for battle, and they just plunged into a Union corps and crushed it and drove it back to the Antietam Creek. So,
of course, here that didn't happen. Of course, that didn't happen. They damaged some men, but it wasn't too bad.
Well, you're a better commander than General Burnside, so that's faint praise. But at least we meet the Burnside standard is not very high.
Stonewall's about to get shattered. Looks like. Here, I don't know why I moved Brooks down. Like, I knew this was coming, and yet I still moved Brooks to the south and got in the way of them retreating into the group. And I did not know exactly where they spawned, because this was not necessarily the first time I'd played this map, but I hadn't come up with this idea yet. This idea of literally leaving like 2 units completely out of the battle, even though really I should not have, probably, because I might teleport this guy out. I can't remember.
I don't know where he's going to go. If he backs up, he's going to take shots from the rear.
No, I can teleport him north.
Out
of the way. I don't remember exactly what I do with him, though. Because this is just a bad position for him to be in. I should not have left him there.
Look at that. You won the melee.
Well, yeah, I mean, he'd already taken like 3 volleys from other units. And a unit, volley from that unit as well.
Yeah, it's still a big day when any Union unit wins a melee 1-on-1. It's a big day.
Yeah, it was a 3-star unit too, so...
Yeah, I know. A Union are terrible.
And I think that unit had almost no condition too. My unit had almost no condition.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how you won that.
I mean, that unit only has like 11 condition. It's bad. Like, all these units are in bad condition right now because they had to run all the way from the north to get down here all the way to the south. That's a long way to run. Stonewall surrendered.
Ah, good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've adapted, completely adapted now to the fact that these Union infantry are not CSA infantry, which is the thing that shocks people who come from the CSA campaign the most.
There's me cheating to get away from Law, because Law is just like running all the way across the map like it's no big deal.
Yeah, they have roller skates. So
yeah,
that's good.
Oh, we beat up Frobel. So that's good. Oh, that guy's Franklin is just barely out of range, I think. Oh, now he's in range? What? Like he like didn't fire at first, even though he was in range. And now he's finally gonna fire. Like, he had a perfect flank shot on that guy too. Should have fired faster. So
that's amazing that 2 of his units are flashing white. You won the melee. I can't believe you won the melee.
I mean, that guy had been fired at like several times, so I get why he is not in good shape. I mean, he was a fresh 3-star unit though. Like, he was at 100 condition, 100 morale, all that. But of course, and was charging, I think, right? At first, at least.
Yeah. They all seem to be.
Yeah, they all had their charge buttons go insane. And of course, now this guy's getting in a melee, which is not going to help me any, because, yeah, he has 5% condition. And that's only because he got out of melee with that guy. Like, he was probably... by the time they ended that melee, he was definitely a 0 condition, and I think he didn't start out very high either. It's hard to run all that distance. Like, even the unit that came in, like, at the beginning of the map probably only had, like, 75% condition, having ran all the way down there. And he, like, ran down there, like, directly and just, like, waited. He didn't even like move. He might have had 100%, but I don't even think he had 100%, because the last time I'd seen him, he was still at like not quite 100. He was at like 75 or something. He's at like 65 now, but he's probably been running a little bit. But trying to get him out of melee because I don't want him to be in melee anymore. I want him to just reload and like be able to like fire.
Yeah, he's not doing any good in melee with 0 condition.
Yeah, so now he's out of melee, so now he can start reloading. This guy they can all kind of...
But he can fire.
Yeah, they should all be able to fire now. McHenry should have been moving somewhere because he's like back behind over there, just kind of chilling. He could have easily come south. Preston's finished off all the calves, so the cav are dead. That's good. Yeah, just got to push in from the north and make sure get flank shots on these guys as they try to march out of the forest. We want to finally get this. We had killed like half of the artillery unit, but now it's time to get the other half. Should be good. We still got some amount of cover, not great cover, but somebody surrendered. Looks like Walker. So we probably have a unit down there that we've captured. Hopefully we'll be able to get him out of there. I don't know. Yep.
That's nice.
So we got one more unit under our control. We are taking...
The artillery in the south is dead. So you did fire on him off camera, and it killed him because he's gone. So
Warren surrendered. We got another surrender there.
That's very nice.
Yeah, once everybody on the map is all beat up, it starts getting a lot easier to get people to surrender.
Yeah, and the other thing is as I keep pointing out in my videos for new players, is enemy units really hate flanking fire. I mean, they really, really hate taking fire from multiple directions.
Yeah.
And that dials down the difficulty considerably when you put yourself in a position where you're hitting the enemy from many.
Yeah.
It makes it look much easier.
It does, definitely. If you can get a flank shot on basically any unit, they just fold pretty much instantly. Like here, like yes, I'm facing up with them now, but like all these units have been shot a lot. Mm-hmm. None of these units are, you know, at the 2K mark, except that Law, I guess, is still up. And that's only because he just marched in, had 2,400 men, and is already down to 1,900. So he's already lost 500 men in just maybe 20 minutes of battle time.
And if he loses another, I'm looking at that, if he loses another 400 and takes a shot from the back in the condition he's in, he might just give up.
Yeah, so he might.
A couple more shots.
I mean, he's already running, so it's Law's that one right there. Yeah, he's almost, and most of the rest of them are all, you know, getting towards 1,000, and at 1,000, you don't stand a chance against 2,500 man units.
No.
Yeah, they're all at 1,500 or less, pretty much, except Law, who's still at 1,800. I mean, that's still not, and he just took so many shots from so many units there. They're all just kind of retreating down here south at the bottom. They don't want to move up because I've got too many units there, so nobody's actually, you know, retreating in a direction that actually will get them out of anywhere. Like, they're all trapped now. It took way too long for me to get on that artillery unit, though. Should have been trying to move in from the side here and get flank shots on them earlier, but it just takes a lot of time whenever you're trying to move multiple different units, and I kind of think I forgot about him a little bit, to be honest. Mm-hmm. This guy keeps taking shots, but yet he still hasn't lost that many men, but I keep having him take shots like this, and I'm just like, I want you to, like, not take shots. Still 100 men isn't that bad. I felt like the Louisiana Tigers would have been taking shots from, like, the side by, like, 4 different units here, and should have been in bad shape, but they still got off a full volley.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too. I was thinking he's about to get hit on the flank by 4 units. That's going to hurt. But didn't quite happen.
Yeah, all my units were tired, I think. Or reloading at the time. I think he was like facing the right direction, took some face shots, and I think that might be pretty good cover there. And then he like did that about face thing and just instantly shot woods and then turned back. Mm-hmm. And so he never took any flank shots, like, at all. Like, because every time, well, now I think Gibbon might be giving him a flank shot, but there's a Jackson's still in there, so he's still giving them morale bonuses, which is part of the problem of why they're not giving up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. When I thought come up behind him and make him surrender, but when I saw Jackson there, it was like, no, they're not going to surrender.
Yeah.
Not with him there. If Jackson was dead, all those guys along the southern edge of the map would be easy pickings. You could bag them all very quickly. But with Jackson there, it's unlikely. He's just going to bring them back enough that they won't surrender, no matter. I mean, you'd have to really hammer them or kill Jackson.
Or both.
Yeah.
And here I'm like, how do I get this guy out? I don't think I can get this guy out. But I think I end up actually getting him out. I was really surprised. I can't remember for sure, but the Louisiana Tigers are not in good shape either. If I can just get them to rout. Oh, there we go.
Now that you got him, you can get the other one out too.
Yeah.
I would have almost considered going into melee with Louisiana Tigers to get the other unit out of there.
Problem is how long it takes to just move your units far enough forward to actually get into melee.
Yeah.
Because my units, even up there, might be at almost full condition, but I don't think they're at full condition still. And like Brooks coming around the side there at 0, like this other Brooks at 0, like almost everybody is like exhausted in my army.
One of the things I do now is I don't charge with particularly when they're low on condition.
Yeah.
I walk or run into the melee because that burns a lot less condition. So you can run into melee, get the enemy to surrender without hitting charge, and come out of it with the same amount of condition or a tiny bit less. But if you charge, you're going to go to 0.
Yeah, and also you can also then charge once you're in melee and get the melee bonus from the charge, but yet not have spent all that stamina like trying to get into melee.
Yes, charging a distance to get into a melee attack is just a disaster. And that's what the enemy does all the time.
Yep.
The AI will charge, across the map, and by the time he gets there, he's completely exhausted and ineffective. So, yeah, don't do what the AI does. That's pretty much a bad idea.
So here we're going to the next phase. I think it opens up a bit. Yep. So I didn't realize just how close this was.
Yeah, that's sunken road.
So I think I, might just cheat just a little bit, I should have probably taken a shot at that artillery while I was there, but I figured I was about to take the hits from like 5 or 6 units and it was going to be bad. And so are these guys, because like I didn't realize how close it was. It is very close there.
Yes.
Should have pushed in more with the guys on this side, and less on the east, less on the west and more on the east. If I'd pushed in on that side more, it would have helped. And then, so I get my genius idea. My general can just tank this. If I get my general close enough, he will take the shot instead.
That's a nice idea.
So I believe that I move my general close enough that he will take a shot or two. I think. And just to be able to hold them in place for just long enough to then oh no, he's charging too, so that's bad. Just to try to get into the right position, because I think I get a capture on all these guys. Capture or shatter on all these guys.
And when the map opened up, my first thought was, too bad. If that door had been closed, you could have bagged them all. But you have managed to do it. Combination of fast movement and teleportation.
Yeah.
And if your general didn't take the shot, your unit would have gotten hit hard and maybe routed. So you figured out how to do that too.
Yeah. So he's gonna take a hit or two here. But he hasn't really taken too much damage yet, so...
And this is perfect. They're about 1,200, which means they're likely to surrender rather than shatter.
Yep.
And they get into melee and gone.
Yep.
They give it up. Because they're flashing white, they're about 1,200. That is ideal. That is absolutely perfect.
Being in melee and at 1,200 is usually a pretty good death sentence for the enemy.
And flashing white or routing.
Yeah, I mean...
Absolutely death sentence. So they might survive. That your unit's exhausted, so he might survive that. But if he had any condition at all, or stamina or condition, that 1200 unit right there wouldn't make it through, I don't think.
And he still might not, because there's sometimes you just get a surrender even if maybe you feel like you shouldn't have.
Yeah. So that one I'm looking at, that's going to be close, but only because your unit's exhausted.
Yeah.
So I think you could pop a detached skirmisher, which would be cheating, so you get 2-on-1, get a tiny bit of a bonus for like a split second. Might help, but
you could also just teleport him backwards.
Yeah, you can also just teleport him backwards.
Yeah, and then you sustain melee for... Oh, wait. So I just decided to go 2-on-1 with actual units instead.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Well, the biggest problem in this pocket has always been the Corps Commander. He's got to go.
Yeah, but I think he's going to be like the last one to die.
Too bad. That makes all the melee tougher.
Yeah, but my Corps Commander's like right there, so at least I got that going for me. Yeah, but like both of these guys are basically at 0.
Oh, you've got 2-on-1 right here. The
yeah.
Corps Commander probably...
No, I guess they do get out. I thought I got them, but we got several of them. Like,
yeah, I think it was because the Corps Commander was alive.
And then 2 more that right there.
See, they weren't influenced by the Corps Commander, so they give it up right away.
Oh, and a supply wagon too.
The supply wagon.
So we're sitting pretty at this point. Basically everybody needs a rest because I just exhausted like all my units, and to try to like actually take ground while exhausted is not, especially over open ground like this, because this is all open ground, which is just not conducive to actually and then here, like, this is great because like they're shooting my Corps Commander and now I can shoot at their flank, so it's basically a free flank shot on that unit.
Well, the other thing is you have 150,000 men who have yet to show up.
Well, I mean, I only have 135 total.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I probably have another 50,000 60,000 to show up. But I mean, most of it just now showed up. A lot of it just now showed up.
Yes.
So
you have your reinforcements came in from the north, and you're going to get reinforcement after reinforcement after reinforcement from the north. And yeah, look at the blue dots on the strategic map. So those guys they need to be able to fight something.
I mean, I don't think they get to fight anything, really.
Oh, really?
I mean, for one thing, like, the force of the north is supposed to be huge and supposed to keep you from like marching south like almost at all, and it's already down to 2 units. And then the force that's actually over here is supposed to like keep you from marching south along this part, but like I'm already like got all the units from the north getting ready to hammer them. So the units over there, like, they'd have to cross a river to get involved, and crossing a river to get involved is difficult.
Yeah, the thing about the sunken road is it looks like a World War I trench. It's about shoulder height, maybe neck height, when you stand in it, and so they're standing in a name tag defilade position, if that makes sense. Like it's a trench. So that's a great defensive position unless it gets flanked. And then you just can fire down the length of it and kill everybody who's in it, and you've already flanked it.
Yeah.
So that brilliant position historically has just been rendered pretty useless.
And of course, I mean, I don't know how well they actually like buffed those fortifications anyway. So a lot of these guys are just like 2Ks instead of being a full 2.5K, just because. And I'm just breaking off skirmishers to get vision. I don't actually want to fight here, because crossing this river is not a good idea.
Yeah, that's what I did in my Union campaigns too. If you cross there, you're going to there's a lot on the other side of this.
So then my units can just run in circles.
Yeah, if he decides to, he's going to throw you back across this river, or you'll hold, but you'll take crazy losses that are just not worth it. It's better to bring these guys in when if you decide to surround the entire pile by the Sunken Road victory location, then these guys can come up when you're making the encirclement, and they can be part of the encirclement. But to cross the river and attack early that's a bad idea, I think.
I agree. So I basically break off some skirmishers, have them move forward to get vision, and then tell all the actual units to run in circles, because it's just not worth it worrying about.
Yeah, the other thing is, if you do cross there, you have to go uphill, and I think players underestimate how devastating it is to attack uphill.
Yeah.
Like, you always want to get the enemy to charge uphill. It's terrible for them, but you never want to be the one to be charging uphill.
No.
It's always a disaster. It exhausts your units. They go slow. They're less effective when they fire. Downhill fire, I think, is more effective than uphill fire. I've noticed. It might just be in my head, but I think there's a difference. So
it feels like it.
You never want to. Yeah, I'm glad you experienced that too. That's your impression. You never want to be the guy who's charging uphill.
Well, you never want to be the one charging across a river, and then you never want to be the one charging up a hill, and you never want to be the one that's coming from an unprepared position into a prepared position. So you are like doing like several nuh-uhs in there.
Yes, exactly. Those are all, don't do that. Yeah, those are bad. And the other thing is charging across open ground into artillery.
Yeah, I mean,
the enemy does usually have artillery at the top of that hill. Bad, and bad. Just don't do that.
Yeah, it's part of the prepared positions. You don't attack prepared positions from the direction that they're expecting you to attack from.
Ever. And the thing about Ultimate General is it always tells you to do that. And if you read the instructions at the beginning of every battle, they always read, charge stupidly across open ground into prepared positions and take canister to the face.
Yeah.
That's always what it tells you to do. And the way you get victory is never do what it tells you to do. So,
or just do it faster than what it tells you to do. Because there's sometimes that if you just hit the run button and do what it tells you to do, you get into position before the enemy can, and it actually works. Those are not very common, but there is every once in a while that you can just absolutely destroy the enemy by just outspeeding it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's one of the things about Washington, for sure. Because at Washington, like, you can take some of those forts before the units are even in them. And if you can do that, then, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was mentioning before this that at Washington on day one, I take one of the forts by running into it before the enemy gets a single unit anywhere near the fort.
Yeah.
So there's literally nothing inside the fort. Just I run into it and take it. So that's always, that's nice.
And it's also funny because, like, you can definitely cheat and, like, see if the enemy is in fortifications.
Yeah.
That you can take. It's like, game? Why are you showing me this if I don't have vision? Like, if you don't have vision on it, you shouldn't be able to see it.
Well, I just finished day one of Washington, and there were a couple of forts where I couldn't see what was inside the fort, but when I approached with detached skirmishers, which give you visibility, it revealed when they got close there was nothing there. So I just set everybody on run, like in the southern sector.
You can see the fortification spots. If you select one of your units, you can see the fortification spots and see if there's anybody in it.
Go ahead, expand on that. What do you mean?
So, like, here, the different fortification spots can't be taken by the Union. So you cannot see the little shield above it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could see a shield above it, you would know that you could get into that fortification, and that means that there's not an enemy unit in the fortification.
Oh yes, very, very true. Yes.
So you don't even have to send somebody forward to, like, get vision, because you can just click on a cannon and see if there's any cannon spots in the fortification. Then you can click on even if the unit that you're clicking on is completely across the map.
Yes.
And then you can click on an infantry unit or a skirmisher, and then look in it and see if you know how many fortification spots there are. If you know there's only 3 fortification spots, you know that nobody's in those 3 fortification spots if you can see the shield.
Yes.
It's totally cheating.
Very good technique, yes.
But yeah, I mean, and it doesn't really do you that much good at Washington because you know that the units aren't there for a lot of the fortifications, so it doesn't really help you that much. But like I was watching your video, the first section, and I saw that the center fortification, none of its fortifications were held at the beginning of that map. They hold fortifications that are forward. There's a chance that you could actually get men into those fortifications behind them.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
Which would be crazy because there's like 15,000 men they have out in the field in front of that center fortification waiting for you to march forward and no one back in the fort. You just had to find a way to get them in there. That's the hard part.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you could actually get men there because they might be holding the forts that are like east of there.
Yeah, the trenches, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or the prepared positions east of there.
So but it might not be easy. You can flank those.
You have enough of an army. You can run over top of those guys. They can't stop you if you decide you're going to go that way. It's going to cost you, but you can do it.
I got flanked and routed. I completely forgot about this side again. Like, so if these guys had actually been marching like into position, I would have been fine. But I let Brooks get flanked and didn't actually like control him for, I don't know, good 10 minutes there. And all those units kind of spawned in down there, and I wasn't actually in that forest to hold off like I had meant to be, which led to this problem.
Yeah, the spawning in of units is pretty... There are two things I wish the AI had fixed. One is spawning in units that make no sense. And the other thing is, the thing we like to take advantage of is enemy units are going to come in as reinforcements on a road somewhere along the edge of the map, and we can gang up on them and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
I wish the AI had, before the reinforcements come in, there's an area that they can come in and we can't get to them, so that we have to stand back a little bit so they can deploy. But the spawning in of units is really frustrating, and the only way around that is power game it by watching other videos and then not being where they're going to spawn in.
The problem is that nobody attacks like I do. So I cannot watch somebody else's video and see where they spawn in, the actual location, because nobody is this far south at this point in this battle.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how far south you were in this battle, but I'm pretty sure at this point you were not already knocking on the lower edge of the map to see exactly where they spawn in. You might know close, but you also don't know exactly what time, because the time can vary, but it can also just be that like you see the units and you get the announcement that the units are there only once you've seen one of them. So I don't know when those units actually came onto the map for you unless you actually saw them come onto the map, and nobody sees units come onto the map as often as I do.
And there's also there can be triggers that have them come in early, significantly early, if you are further south. Like if your army is further south and you outnumber them, they'll come in early.
Right.
So there are a lot of variables there. Yeah, I would, as I remember how I played this battle every time I played it, I was more looking to encircle them around the sunken road more than so much drive south.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been pushing on the victory location the way you are now. Because I'd be thinking, no, I want them all to kind of go there, and I want to bag them in that location. That's a good place to encircle them.
I just figured that it would be good to drive them down the hill in front of the bridge.
Yeah.
Because if you can drive them down the hill in front of that bridge, that's a really good spot, because then they can't cross the river, but they want to. So if they do cross the river, you can have a bunch of units over there to just like pounce on them, because I have all those units over there that are doing nothing. And if I drive them all that way, then whenever units spawn in more towards Antietam again, or is that the name? That is the name of the town there, right?
Well, it's
or what is the name of the
Sharpsburg.
town? Sharpsburg.
The creek. The
The
creek.
creek is Antietam.
Right. The
Okay.
town is Sharpsburg.
So, if I can drive them down that way, then whenever other units spawn in over on the other side, then I can have units that can be over there without worrying about the fact that, I've got all the problems of... Yeah, I'm trying to select all of them, and I'm struggling.
Because of the mouse. I think the important point there is have a plan.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about Ultimate General, what makes it fun, is trying out different plans. And trying out different plans, you may find some work better for you than others, but have a plan. Even a bad plan is better than no plan. And don't just push your army forward and attack, but be thinking about how you're going to maneuver into a position where the enemy's position is hopeless.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you're going to get much, much better results.
I got charged.
Where? Oh, yeah.
And nice. I'm exhausted. And I think he's going to lose.
For Union infantry, well, it might be because you have two other infantry units right there.
And, I mean, now it's 3-on-1, so...
Yeah, that's going to be bad for him.
You would hope that would end in my favor. Oh, yeah, he might even surrender. That's a lot of losses to take that fast. I was 300 or 400 losses to take in seconds.
Yeah, he does not like taking huge losses fast. But
no,
it's a difference between Union and Confederate infantry. If that was Confederate infantry, I'd be going, oh, good. 1-on-1, nice.
One on multiple, yay.
Yeah.
Now it's I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this.
I mean, we could lose.
I mean, he just now got down to 1,500, but so I have 3 times the numbers in that fight. Oh, you just lost another 100 men, so that works. Here, the Texas Brigade, I just get lucky. I don't know how that's counted as a flank shot by Gibbon, but it must be. It must be one of those situations where the flank of that position is just in a weird direction. Yeah. I guess maybe it's Colquitt there, a straight line out from Colquitt is what the prepared position is considered to be, instead of the way it actually is, where it's at an angle there. So that means that you can flank it from kind of quite a bit in front of it, since it probably counts as being flush on with Colquitt.
Yeah, these prepared positions are way too easy to flank.
Yeah.
It's another one of the problems. So you get into a prepared position with your units or a fort, and then somebody walks up, it looks fairly straight in front of you, and it's a flank shot.
Yeah. It's just come on, guys. Come on.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
That's why most prepared positions are death traps.
Yeah, and that is one thing that Panda has definitely worked really hard on for his mod, the J&P rebalance mod. I mean, I think that you can no longer flank a fort. You have to actually rear flank.
Good.
Which means that in some situations, it is really hard to get an enemy out of a prepared position, even if you have a flank. Well, in all reality, flank shots on prepared positions, actual flank shots, like you were saying earlier, are the worst. If you can flank shot a infantry unit with a artillery unit, you will take out rows of infantry, tons of men. And if they're packed into a prepared position like that, and you get side flanking shots on them, suddenly the fact that your guns are not all that accurate just doesn't matter, because you're firing down the length of the unit.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all packed in there, like you were saying, on that sunken road. It's a terrible position if they come from the side. And I mean, that's and he's basically taking that away from you. But by taking that away from you, you still have the option to come around and get rear flanking shots on them, whereas the actual AI doesn't necessarily understand that very well.
Yeah, the AI can't grasp terrain.
Yeah.
It has no understanding of terrain, which is why he moves forward and will stop standing waist deep in water and want to fight you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Not the brightest moves a lot of the time. But here, we're basically just, oh, wow, I'm getting charged down over there, it looks like. And I evidently am not even noticing at all. Maybe I'll notice now. There we go. I'm glad you saw that.
Yeah, he always attacks over here on this side when you bring the infantry units in. Like, you always bring infantry units in here, reinforcements, always happens. And when you do, it must be some trigger where he will charge. And I'm looking at that 2-on-1. This is going to be nice. And he only has 1,700, so even the Union can win this.
I was just like, wow, he is like on roller skates.
Yeah, you're not going to...
And all these guys are completely exhausted behind because they're all... And of course, I take 20 losses, 30 losses from the fire coming in. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not leaving my skirmishers out, because the skirmishers will take 10, 15 losses per volley. So you will lose 30 men on that skirmisher unit, and it will rout pretty easily if you're not real careful whenever you're having fire into that unit. Now, just being in melee, it's fine, but if you fire into that melee, you'll end up routing your own skirmishers right out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you were going to, with all the incoming supporting fire, you were going to win that.
Right, and there's no reason to take an extra 30 losses.
Yeah. For
no good reason. I mean, yeah, the 2-on-1 is nice, but he was already going to be in a bad spot. Surprised Law is still around. And I believe that they spawn a bunch of artillery in the town, Sharpsburg.
Yeah, they do. They spawn a bunch of units. I can't remember what it is, but
some cav and the artillery, I think.
Yeah, odds and sods that are pretty easy to kill.
Yeah, so... but like, I'm already like on the doorstep of the town too, so it's pretty mean the way I have moved. Because at this point, like, they are absolutely in a horrible spot.
Yeah, I like the position that you're driving them into. Like, I've surrounded them many times. Again, going back to Sid Meier's Antietam, I've surrounded the enemy many times around Sunken Road. But this is going to be even nicer. This pushing them down from Sunken Road to this hill. I'm just wondering if it's going to end the timer. You have 2 hours and 42 minutes if taking the victory location ends this phase early. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I've never done it.
They've still got their cannons there, though. I should have taken those out already, but it's hard to like get everybody in the right position to get everybody taken out in a timely manner. So it's not going too terribly. And they keep moving units around and getting flanked because they're trying to walk past the front of this huge line of infantry I have here. Not the brightest move. And sorry.
How many men? Go ahead. How many men does the enemy have here? I forgot how many. I was focused on how many you had.
I don't know. I did not actually look at that either. My guess would be like half what I have, probably 70, 80,000. Well, no, that's not half. That's more than half. So yeah, it's probably 80.
But you've already outscaled him. Like you've gone.
Yeah.
Like you can outscale the enemy even on legendary if you build a large enough army.
Yeah, and you keep them down. I mean, you have to keep their scaling down. If you allow them to get up in scaling, then they'll obviously bring as many men as they can. But as long as you keep killing them off, there's not much they can do.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. The goal is to kill as many as possible for both XP and to degrade their manpower pool.
Yeah. And as long as you keep their man pool power down, like, it's really not bad.
And at some point you will, if you keep building your army and, I mean, your buying recruits with reputation, you outscale them, and the battles are easy anyway, making it easier to get more and more kills. And you actually want the enemy to bring more men, so you get more kills, get more weapons, get more XP.
Yep.
Because I can tell you, on Brigadier General, it becomes really frustrating that the enemy brings these tiny armies, and you don't get any XP, and you don't get any weapons, and the weapons you do get is
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. You capture. Oh boy, I captured 3,000 farmers. Yay. We're on Legendary. You're getting Harper's Ferries.
So. I mean, I didn't. I got weapons, but mostly like Tyler, Texas's.
Yeah, you have not. You have not gotten the usual.
It ended 2 hours early.
Yeah, see, that's what I'd be trying to avoid. I'd want every minute. But yeah, I've noticed that you've been getting terrible drops for Legendary. You should have, like in this at Antietam, you should be getting 100% Harper's Ferries, no question. But in previous battles, you should have been getting Harper's Ferries.
I think I've gotten like 1 or 2 drops of Harper's Ferries, but all the rest have been like Tyler, Texas's. Yeah, pretty much.
Which is significantly worse.
I get spotted on 1 artillery unit, which is bad. But everybody else is unspotted. Which makes me a little bit mad. And like all the infantry units spawn right on top of each other. And I'm like, what is up with that? Like 3 units of infantry just like standing on each other. There's all this room around here. Like and several units of cannons? Or is that just 1 unit of infantry and like a bunch of cannons behind it? I can't tell.
That's a pretty weird looking spawn.
Yeah, it's just a ton of cannons that are only 100 men. Yeah. It's a lot of cannon, like just random cannon units, because I had spaces, and I was like, I might as well make multiple units instead of making
Yeah, I've done that before, and I've purchased every captain in the in the inventory and put them in those units, and grind them up to majors.
Yeah, but I already basically duplicated like 20 major generals.
Yeah.
And at Fredericksburg, I'm going to do another 40.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Because you don't even need the other 2 corps.
Yeah, you don't. Like I got to Washington, and the only thing that I didn't have for my army that I wanted was just a handful of brigadier generals, just a tiny number, like 6 brigadier generals.
Yep.
And I would have been absolutely happy with my army. And yeah, you get 24 or now 48 a pop using the duplicate officer method.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna do the duplicate officer method, which is genius, yeah, just put a low level, put low level officers into these big grand battles and get a lot of promotions. Like I spent way too much time, I mentioned this, grinding 3-star generals, and you don't need it. You don't need all those 3-star generals that
Very true.
I have 20. How many do I have? It's like 31 or something ridiculous.
Look at all this artillery. I'm just like, I'm gonna get 100% cover, because if I don't, these guys are gonna rip me to shreds.
Could be bad.
But like, I've got all these units here, and if we got nothing else to do, might as well have them kill a bunch of artillery. I should have moved better. Like if I had my units in better spots, like I could have been firing with like 6 units onto all that artillery as soon as it spawned.
Yeah.
And like insta shattered all of those artillery. They're all facing like north. So if I had spawned in like units just like lined up east to west, I mean west to east, I would have been able to fire a whole bunch of flanking shots in all those artillery, and it only takes like 1 shot, 1 volley from an infantry unit from the flank, even whenever they're in 100% cover like that, to get them routing.
The only way to do that, though, is to know exactly where they're coming in.
Yeah, and I didn't know exactly where they would be, so I just kind of had to wing it a little.
And here's what I've found with that is I'll be playing and I'll think, I could hit the pause button and pull the game up on my, laptop and see exactly where these guys come in and exactly when, or I can just,
wing it. Let's wing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna wing it, and then you go, I'm just gonna wing it. I'm too lazy to like stop playing and go see where these guys come in exactly. I'm just gonna guess.
But of course, a lot of these battles, people don't even have the statistics for it because, I mean, nobody knows exactly where these guys spawn because nobody ever does this.
Yeah.
I'm not I don't think you did even.
I have done this, but I have been in a position to see them when they spawned in before. And
oh, okay.
I remember for my CSA campaign, it's one and done, but I've played every battle in the Union campaign 50 times. So lots of different strategies. And I played for 1,000 hours on Brigadier General.
Yeah.
Before I played on Major General. So I experimented with a lot of things.
I lost 15 men on that artillery unit, which made me a little mad. Just trying to fall back out of vision. But it wasn't enough to actually lose a unit cannon, so no big deal.
Actually, yeah, if you don't lose a cannon, it's kind of irrelevant.
And
Yeah,
they're all 0 stars. So I don't even care, like, at all.
Yeah, you probably have pretty high medicine. So if you lost over 25 men, just slightly over, with medicine, the gun comes back. Yep. It's not permanently lost if you have medicine.
As long as you get right back above that amount.
Yes.
If you only lose like 26 men, sometimes you can get it back.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course, if you lose enough, you just are gonna lose a gun. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, but I don't know why people are so squeamish about losing guns. I mean, the whole point. I mean, you lose infantry by the hundreds of thousands, and don't think about it. You lose a gun, and it's a bad day. No, I mean their job is to get up there and fight.
Well, I mean, it depends on which side you're on. If you're on the CSA side and you lose one of the 10, 20 pounders that you can buy,
yes,
like you feel really bad because it's like I only get 6 or 7, maybe 10 per major battle, and you're like losing one of them is like it just adds up. Like if you lose one in a side battle, like you're like that was a waste. Like why did I even bring an artillery unit at that point?
Yeah, losing 20-pound parrots as the CSA is a disaster because you just don't get that many.
Yeah.
But 24-pound howitzers or 10 Ord or, I mean.
Yeah, but I don't even bring 24-pound howitzers to battles. They don't do me any good.
We used to bring them, and they're really fun to fight with. That's my preferred way to fight. But the problem is
they're too slow.
They're too slow, and it's for building your army. It's better to bring 2,500 men in a unit than a tiny artillery unit.
That is also true.
Get the XP for the 2,500 men.
So I don't quite drive them all the way down the river. It doesn't look like, but I'm gonna drive them out of the town. I'm gonna drive them off the hill. Probably kill them in the little creek there somewhere. Which, I mean, isn't much different than driving them all the way to the river. It's hard to drive them all the way to the river. I think they surrender too fast, from what I remember.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering where you're gonna... I'm looking for an encirclement, and I'm kind of wondering where they're gonna die.
Yeah, you gotta push them out of the town first, though. That's the problem. Towns are just so hard to push units out of. Unless you get really good flanking shots on them, because nobody wants to retreat ever. And especially infantry units. Infantry units will literally grind themselves to death, point blank range, before either side will have an advantage. And it's just like, wow, this is bad, really bad.
Yeah, that helps the AI, but not you.
Yeah, because I mean, you'll go 1-to-1 with them, 1-to-1 losses, like one unit firing at one unit in 100% cover will basically just shoot each other to death all day and nothing will happen. Neither one of you will retreat.
Yeah, I've had it where 2-on-1 in the woods, 100% cover, and I had 24-pound howitzers firing canister, and because the enemy's in 100% cover and has a commander there, they'll just sit there all day.
Yep.
Which is
as
really
long as you don't
weird.
get a flank shot.
Even on legendary, the enemy does not like 24-pound howitzer canister fire.
Yeah.
But 100% cover
does the trick. As long as you don't get a flank shot. If you get a flank shot, you get one flank shot on a unit in 100% cover and they'll rout. Yes. It's like, and then you fire all day at their front and you're just like, okay, I'm like 2 or 3 on 1 and I can't do anything. One flank shot and they're gone.
So for new players, the secret is flank shots.
Yeah, 100% every time. If the question is how do you move enemy units, the answer is flank shots. If the answer is how do you get a good kill to death ratio, the answer is flank shots.
How do you capture a lot of units?
Flank shots. Because the way that you get the morale to 0 is flank shots.
Flank shots, yeah.
See, I thought there was units out there already. And there's like nobody out there. Like hardly at all. They do not have hardly any units to the south here to start out with. So yeah, I'm obviously not going to drive them to the river's edge because I've already got units here. But we're just slowly pushing them. It just takes forever. And so I'm going to start getting lazy and start just like batching and clicking because, yeah, it's a lot of men. It's like, why on earth do I have this many men? I've already won the battle and I'm getting another 20,000 men.
That's 20. Yeah, that's 20,000 men. That's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, and then a cannon unit and a couple of.
Oh, I didn't see the ones in front, so that's even more.
Yeah,
So
it's so many men, and I've already won the battle. They're already like, not surrounded, but like pretty darn close. And men are spawning like way off to the north, where I'm just like, what are you even doing up there?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't like the final battles in the campaign. You have, what is it, 100 and maybe 120 units on the map. The game gives you, and you think, oh, that'd be fun, but it isn't. You hit pause and you give orders to 120 units, and it's just tedious. I mean, it's just,
yeah. If you want to play no pause, like, more power to you, but in this game it is not made for going no pause. Like, there are too many units, too many things going on, too many, like, you need to give too many orders at the same time. Is the problem. Yes. Like, because every time you want to move your line forward, it's best if you move your line forward as a line of troops marching forward. You don't want to give an order to just one unit at a time, because then they stagger going forward.
Yeah, and there is a way that you can select the division and give a division an order either to move, and the division will pick up a division formation and move to that spot. And you can even tell the division, there's a mechanic in the game, forget even how to access it, to tell the division to take or hold a point on the ground. You can do that. If
you click on the division, like the first division, it'll have an AI button. Yes. And then you hit the AI button and you select either attack or defend.
Yes. Or you can maneuver by division. But there's a big problem.
We all know how bad the AI is.
Yes. Yes. And the division formations, unlike, say, Sid Meier's Antietam or Gettysburg, you don't have a variety of division formations. There's just whatever the game gives you, and the formation the game gives you is garbage.
Yeah.
So it's a terrible mechanic because it's not fleshed out.
And like with Sid Meier's, oftentimes you can choose how deep you want each unit to be, right?
Yes, yeah. Well, you could have, I want a division formation where it's 3 in the front and 3 in the back. Or you could say I want them all on line. Or you had a choice of a lot of different division formations.
But I thought you could also pick the width of your units. Could you not?
I'm trying to remember if that was a thing.
Oh, you could choose line formation, which made them longer, or you could use like a different formation, which made them more compact.
Yes.
So you could make your units take up more or less room.
And
in this, you can't. Like, all your units are exactly how big they are, except for breaking off a skirmisher makes them a little bit smaller sometimes. Sometimes breaking off a skirmisher makes them wider.
Yes.
Because they suddenly lose like one of their rows and gain width instead.
Yeah, you don't have control over any of those cool things.
Yeah.
You do have kind of a column formation if you draw a line, like you did with this unit. You draw a line, go from here to here. It'll get into a column formation.
But it doesn't stay.
No, it doesn't. In Sid Meier's, you could put the entire division on column, and the whole division would move at max speed. And you could also tell them to form the road column, and they would take a road from point A to point B and get there super fast. The point is, you had a lot of flexibility, and it worked. I mean, the different options affected the game, and they were good options. And
I will admit, I was not very good at that game, like, because I was like young whenever I played that.
Well, that would be the difference.
Because it was bad. Like, I ran my men into some terrible situations at Sid Meier's Gettysburg.
You can run your men into terrible situations here too.
Well, yeah, but I'm not making those decisions here. I'm making better decisions now.
Yeah, you're older.
Yeah, it was bad decision time all over the place before. See, and they have another unit of cannons down there that I could have been taken out, but I've been like moving forward so slow.
Yeah, what it comes down to with Ultimate General is you have to hit pause and issue individual orders to individual units, and if you have a lot of units, that's going to take a while.
It does. It takes a long time.
That might be why I usually stop playing at Antietam. It's just at that point I have, the army's pretty much built, and you have a lot of men and a lot of units, and the rest of the campaign isn't that hard.
So here I've made a mistake. Like, I should have had a unit on that vision point this whole time. Because if you have a unit on that vision point, you get vision of the other side of the river, and you can actually start bombarding them.
Yes.
And I did not do that, like, for an hour. Which was not the best move there. But see here, like, we've got these guys all kinds of in a bad spot. They can't get to their fortifications. They keep just marching into the water.
Yeah, that's a very good kill zone that you've set up right there. I really like that. But yeah, one of the things you can do is you can set up long range artillery on the other side of the river, which the Union did have historically. And if you have vision, then the enemy will keep sending reinforcements north, and you can just, pepper them with fire just forever, because you have plenty of ammo and you can have hours of time, and it's just, grind firearms and get free kills.
A lot of those cannons over there are 20-pound parrots. They just can't fire anything because they can't see anything, because I didn't actually take that vision point.
Yeah, and there's a nice piece of hilltop that's kind of between the two bridges, and you have complete visibility of this big open area. Like, where it's just to the right there, right north of the Burnside's Bridge, the little hilltop right where you are right now. And now put some artillery right there, and they just have, they can just hit everything that moves north.
Yeah. I think I get, like, all of those units right on the river's edge, actually, in that forest along the river's edge in the end, to get shots with the artillery. Because then they can actually hit 20-pound parrots can almost hit the town.
Yeah.
So Lee, I think, actually dies by the 20-pound parrots in the end, or Brown, one of the two. just because I can actually range them from behind if I can get up against the edge of the river there. And they're not doing hardly any damage to me in the 100% cover. Even if they have good guns, like, they can't do much damage. I'm not doing much damage to them either, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, they did some damage there, but I mean, they've only got 300 men. I've got 2,000, so I can afford to lose a little bit.
Yeah, the artillery unit is going to die in this one.
Do I finally get vision? See, I still don't have vision. I guess it didn't actually work. I thought I would have vision of that unit on the other side. I thought I remembered having vision of him. But I guess I still have to wait. Still don't have vision.
You don't have anybody, like, to get the best vision, you have to put the unit right on top of the vision point. You're not.
Pretty much. I thought I was pretty much on it.
I've always found the best way is, like, put somebody right on the vision point.
I mean, as long as you capture it, I think it's the same.
I don't think.
You don't think so? I don't know.
No, I don't know, but somehow I was able to get vision of...
Oh my goodness, there's still an hour left on this battle. How is there still an hour left on this battle?
Well, you have another map. It's only 9 a.m. I mean, it's only 9 a.m. This is till,
I didn't think about that.
Till forever. I mean,
this is 1800 or 20 or...
I don't know, but it's pretty late. If you don't take...
I don't remember.
The victory location at Burnside Bridge, you can play every minute of it, and I have many times. So, yeah, you've got what? You might have 10 more hours.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. I mean, the battle's really over. You're gonna kill these guys in a big clump, and then that's it. The battle's really over, and it's just you kind of keeping guys on the field to get experience for 10 hours or how.
Yeah.
I forget what it is. It's like...
It's a long time.
Is it 1600 or 1700?
I thought it was 1800 for some reason.
Might be 1800. Might be 1900.
I can look. Ridiculous. Let's see. Antietam. 1930.
Oh, man. So you have 10 hours and 30 minutes in game. And
the battle already feels like it's over.
Oh, yeah, this is over. I'm looking at this. Yep, battle's over.
Yeah. It's like, I might lose another, like, 500 or 600 men. I mean, 5 or 6, like, 1,000 or 2,000 men, maybe, is all I'll lose after this. Like, I only lose 5,000 total, so there's not that many more men that I'm going to lose. Most of them are going to be those, like, 1-star units down in the corner over here where those units spawn in. But besides that, there's not going to be many men that I lose.
At this point, the only thing you're thinking is, okay, how do I round these guys up so they don't escape?
Yeah.
Like, it's not, am I going to win the battle? It's, what's the best way to, just round these guys up?
I mean, to be completely honest, like, that was my thought from, like, the first minute I stepped on the battlefield was, how do I round these men up? Not how do I win? Because the answer was always, you're going to win, just how do you do it with the least losses and putting them in the worst positions?
I don't know if people who are new to the game understand that experienced players, there's no question in their mind, the only way they lose the battle if there's some freaky thing that happens with a victory location.
Yeah.
Like something times out, or like you take a victory location early and that makes it a draw for some stupid reason.
Oh yeah. Didn't that happen at that one battle?
Oh, it happens all the time at like Chickamauga.
Is it Chickamauga that you can get ties at, and it's like, what? How'd
that happen? Because
I did too good, so I got a draw. Like, what?
You do too well, too fast, and you get a draw instead of a victory, which is stupid. So it's just poor game design. The devs just didn't think it through.
So it looks like they didn't even have a unit in that fortification across the river until just now.
Well, you definitely don't want to take that, because that is the end of the battle.
So, like, I could have like marched across like easily, but then I would have just won. It's like, what is up with that? Why did it take him so long to get a man into that position?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you take all 3 victory locations. You win. That's it.
So now they've got a cannon here, but everybody else is like up this hill. But like the catch is that they can't really come down this hill at me because I will just absolutely ruin their day if they try to like cross this river at me. I've actually got cover on this side of the river too.
And he's going to get into the water and get shot to pieces. And I see you're already moving people over there, so you get 2-on-1.
Oh, he stopped running because I detached a skirmisher probably. Which is fine, doesn't really matter. Like, we've got him completely surrounded at this point. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah, this is just round them up.
Rowett should be firing, but... And Porter, I kind of ignored them over there for a bit. Now they're getting shot.
Shots on the Corps Commander, get him.
Yeah, so, I don't think I'm going to get shots on the Corps Commander right now unless he, like, just runs in. Like, oh, it looks like he's just running in. He's going to try to get to that cannon over there. Not the brightest move. I want you to fall back, please.
Yeah, okay. I was saying for new players, that experienced players aren't thinking, oh, I hope I win the battle. It's, I need to get a, you were thinking about what kill ratio can I get here?
Yeah.
How many weapons can I get? How much XP can I harvest?
How many captures can I get?
Yeah. What's a normal amount of captures? How do I increase that number so I recover weapons? But at no point am I thinking, oh, I could lose this battle.
Nope. Never. Doesn't even cross my mind.
Yeah. It's like, what is the position I can get in to get the best outcome?
Yeah. Because the outcome is not in question.
Yeah, it's not in question. And victory and defeat is thought about in terms of, I went 10-1, I get 9-1, I'm disappointed. Not.
Yep.
I'm
sad, but that's. See, yeah, from right there, kind of, even a little bit behind the river's edge, you can still get like all the way to the city. We're pretty close to it. Here, I was mad that Evans got into the city and just kind of like sat there at the edge of the city, and I was like, really should just move a unit down, but then Sanders is there. It's like, I don't really have a way to get a flank shot on Evans very easily, but I figured that since Brooks is getting to fire, I think even Gibbon, all three of those are getting to fire at him. And he's not even firing back. So I'm like, I don't even want to mess with that.
Yeah, that's...
Like, whenever you're getting shots at somebody in 100% cover and they aren't firing back at you, don't change it.
Yeah.
Don't even sneeze. Because the absolute best thing that you can do is fire at a unit in 100% cover without getting shot back.
Yes.
Absolutely. The best thing that you can do.
And you're milking kills, and you're also milking firearms, grinding experience. I mean,
you get
morale goes up because you're getting kills and not taking. I mean, do that
it's,
all day.
Morale is just time. So I mean, time is passing, sure, but like you get efficiency from kills.
Yes.
You get firearms from having fired your weapon multiple times, and then you get command from experience going up, makes your commander get better, and like you aren't losing any men.
Yes.
And they aren't losing enough for the situation to change. So it's like the best point, because that's the fastest you will ever fire, is firing at somebody in 100% cover when they're not firing back. You can't fire any faster than that, no matter how much ammo you have or whatnot. Like, if you can get an ammo wagon over there and just fire for like the entire battle at a single unit with 3 units, you might only get 1,000 kills between 3 units firing at a unit in 100% cover. But every single one of those units will gain 10 firearms.
Yes. And
normal battles, if you get 1,000 kills, you will get 5 firearms. But if you can fire in 100% cover, you get way more.
Oh yeah, you're just milking XP, and you're taking no losses, which is very cool. But I think there is a mechanic where morale goes up and down based on the number of kills and the kill to death ratio. So if you're taking more losses than you're doing kills, your morale goes down.
Well, your morale, like, inside of the battle is capped at how big your unit is compared to how big it is now. How many men your unit had to begin with to how many men it has now. So if you had 1,000 men and you lose 500 of them, you're capped at 50% morale. Or maybe it's not actually literally 50%, maybe it's only like a percentage that you lose, but you get capped based on how many men you lose.
Interesting. Okay.
But that's only within the battle. The amount of morale that you gain like during the battle is just based on time, as far as I know. Every 20 minutes you gain another point in morale.
Okay.
Or something like that. 30 minutes, 20 minutes, somewhere around in there, you get another point in morale.
Yeah.
So the longer you can fight, more morale you gain.
So that's why I agree about that mechanic. That's why we run the timers as long as possible to get every minute on the field that we can for our units. But I have noticed, just in the fight itself, that if I'm getting more kills than the enemy, the morale of the unit goes up. But that might just be...
I mean, it's the morale down there goes up, yeah. The morale on the unit, during the battle goes up as you get kills. But the actual amount of morale you have, the stat... The stat of morale doesn't actually change based on that.
Okay, all right.
So that's why a unit can sit in 100% cover and fire at a unit in 100% cover, and you'll never retreat, because you both do about the same amount of damage to each other, which you both regain morale based on how many kills you get. But then you also have the morale regen. So if you have morale regen, and your morale regen plus the number of kills you have can allow you to... Oh wow, that guy charged me and just surrendered. Genius.
Yeah, why these undersized units decide that charging into units 3 times their size is a good idea, I have no idea.
I don't know either, but I love it. It's great. Yeah. Not quite 3 times their size, but it's close. They're getting down there. Like Texas Brigade is that one that retreated from the north. And Law, I don't know where Law is. Law's up there. He's at 786 as well. So Texas Brigade is about to shatter.
The Texas Brigade is the one that it was a tiny brigade that counterattacked into the cornfield and drove back a Union division historically.
Oh, wow.
The Texas Brigade. It was a tiny unit, and they just charged.
That's probably why they're actually named in this, instead of being just like Loomis or Barksdale.
Yeah.
It seems like they only name the ones that did things.
Yeah, famous units that made a name for themselves in the battle itself. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because a lot of them, instead of having just Jackson's, it's actually Jackson's Brigade. Or Stonewall Jackson's. Instead of just being Stonewall, it's Stonewall's Brigade. Sorry.
Yeah, and the Stonewall Brigade was there, so...
Right, where a lot of these, they would have completely random names.
Yeah.
If they... Oh, wow. McRae. Yeah, charge across that river. You're a brave little 600-man unit.
Yeah, but when I saw the Texas Brigade, I thought, oh yeah, that was the... They were there. The Texas Brigade were there, and they made a name for themselves.
I think the Tiger Brigade was there earlier, too. But they've already been captured or killed.
It seemed that in when you play Gettysburg, that because they made Ultimate General Gettysburg first, and they had historical units there, that the units seemed to be more historically accurate. That's what I remember. Because, well, there was just Ultimate General Gettysburg for a long time before there was Ultimate General Civil War. So that was the one battle where they spent a lot of time trying to get it historically accurate.
This battle is so long. Marching all the way from the north of this battle all the way to the south just takes forever.
Yeah, I just marched across Washington, so I'm not feeling your pain.
Yeah, I know your pain because I already did that, but
yeah,
both of them are painful.
Huge map.
I don't know how tall this map is, but it's close to the how tall just one section of Washington is.
Yeah.
Which is, it's probably a little bit over how tall one section of Washington is. It's probably like Washington is probably like, if it was 2x, this is probably like 1.2 or 1.3.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's still really far north to south. This is one of the taller maps.
Oh, and it feels like forever to get your northern reinforcements into the battle. I mean, it just feels like it takes forever for them to get there.
Yeah.
But the good news is, if you want to grind stamina at the end, if you just walk around the outside of the map, you don't have to give as many orders because it is a long walk from one end, particularly north-south.
3 days later.
I had them walk for hours along the outside of the map, and it was really easy because the map is so big. Because, you know, you give an order to a unit, yeah, go to the south edge of the map, and then you can come back, you know, go make a sandwich, put them on run. You can still have time to go make a sandwich, read a book, come back, and they still haven't made it. It's a long walk.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, but it is a long
you're not exaggerating by much.
Which makes it easy to have all these units just grind stamina if you want to do that.
Yeah, the catch is that normally I actually run units like on roads, on empty ground, not because it is more efficient.
Yes, but the downside of that is you have to hit pause and tell them, here are the little circles, and you have to do that way more frequently.
Over and over. Yes.
Whereas the way I do it, it's not as, you're not going to grind as much, but you hit pause, you tell everybody to go to some corner of the map somewhere, and then you can just hit fast and kick back and let it grind out for a while.
So what I think I end up doing is I do like a set that's below Sharpsburg, I do a set that's above Sharpsburg, and then I do a set that's like northeast, like up and down there. You don't want to have to walk through a town.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to cross rivers. And you definitely don't want to have to cross bridges whenever you're trying to grind stamina, because you will absolutely like defeat the purpose if you have to cross a bridge, because all your units will come all together in one spot and they will all walk on top of each other and they will go so slow you will gain no experience.
Yeah, and if you are going to do that, and I've done it, you have to stagger your units so they're not on the bridge at the same time, which is, I mean, it's just a pain in the neck.
Yeah, you might as well just run them in circles at that point.
Yeah.
Because you're having to do basically the same amount of micro. Now, I mean, for this part, like, mostly I just took big chunks of units and just sent them across the map, because the time factor is just not worth it. Especially not whenever you're fighting a battle and you're already having to micro your heart out. Oh, I heard somebody say something the other day that made me laugh. I was watching some StarCraft, and somebody said they call one of the players, Beyond, they call him Micro Jackson. And I was like, that is hilarious. Just because he does so much micro.
Yeah.
But of course, they're doing like real-time stuff, and they're crazy. Like, those guys that do that, I can't do it. See, here's the guys that are gonna find units.
Yeah, they're headed right to where those guys are gonna come in. That could be painful.
It's gonna be painful. They're all 1 stars and have 42s, so
could hurt.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Ultimate General is if you don't micro, there's going to be a penalty for that, and it's going to be pretty severe.
Yeah, but we get to pause. This guy, Beyond, like, he does it, and he doesn't get to pause. He's playing against other people, and he does crazy things.
Yeah, that's just...
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't. I tried to play some StarCraft 2 again. I had stopped for quite a while, and was going to try to play again, and...
Different kind of game.
I mean, yes and no. Like, it's very similar for, like, just the fighting battles and, like, having to come up with strategies and stuff like that. But, like, actually have to have resources during the battle and stuff like that. And these battles would almost be considered simple in some ways, but yet way more complicated in others. It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
Because, like, the fact that you don't have to, like, build an economy during the battle makes it easier. The fact that you have no extra units. You have no units that you can like build on the fly, makes it somewhat easier. But the fact that like you also have to have already had your army built correctly. You have to know where all your units are. You have to like control multiple sections of the battlefield. Like usually they only fight in like 1 or 2 places at a time. And that's considered like high micro if you can like have 3 spots. In this battle, like you could have like units like spread across a huge front line that you have to like micro all of them.
And you have to be aware of what's going on everywhere.
Yeah.
If you ignore one section of the map for any period of time, you're going to get your head kicked in.
Yeah.
It's going to go really horribly wrong. So you can't do that. One of the things I do when I play is I'll hit pause and just look over the whole battlefield and think strategically. I'll also, during that pause, think, where are my commanders? Where's my artillery? Where's my supply wagon? You know, just take a pause. And that's one of the things I actually like about this game is, you know, you have the functionality to do that. You just hit pause, look around. Maybe I need to move like a division much further to the south. Maybe I need my corps commanders. Like, for example,
Woods needs to be on hold position.
Yeah.
He's just running off into nowhere up there. Oh, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, and stuff like that happens all the time.
It does, and it's
like what's going on the map.
Makes me so mad when they walk over each other like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, why is Grant not in position? And I'm like, what is Woods doing? What are you doing, Woods? Why are you not in the right spot? And of course, this whole time I'm taking shots, just random shots from random units all the time, and it's like, you are all dead. Why do I still have to keep losing men? And the fact of the matter is that there's just so many men in this little area, and I'm having to move in over such a large area that it just takes forever. And all my skirmishers aren't deployed, so that causes them to have an easier time just walking up to them. They don't like walking up to skirmishers and infantry stacked. They just don't.
And he still has a commander.
That's true too.
So it's going to be a little bit costly.
But I mean, it's not like ridiculously costly because I don't lose that many men total. So
you're going to get all those guys are going to be captured. So
I don't remember how many captures I get. Probably like 30,000-40,000. Probably half their force almost.
Very nice. Yeah, I noticed that is when I started playing the UI mod, because I was going for captures instead of kills, which I love that about the UI mod, that you're going for captures instead of kills. It makes the battles a lot more interesting.
Oh, Law might finally die.
But you can get you can capture half an enemy army on any particular battlefield. And there were a lot of battles in my CSA campaign where I captured, half kills, half captures, which is a huge percentage.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, all of these guys would have already surrendered.
Yes.
In life. Like, yes. They would just be like, no.
Yeah, the position is hopeless, we surrender. Yes, absolutely. Historically, these guys would not, long before this, they would have all...
Yeah.
It had been over. Commanders would have said, no, we're not throwing their lives away for no purpose.
And none of these units would be able to shatter. Because all of them are surrounded. You can't shatter whenever there's an enemy in front of you, behind you, and beside you. Like, the enemy doesn't let you do that.
Yeah, you don't shatter and then run off.
Through units.
Yeah, through the Union lines.
Yeah, that does not work. They capture you and tell you to surrender or die, because you are not allowed to shatter through other people. Like, that just does not fly.
Yeah, and behind this infantry, historically, there's a ton of, people. There are people doing other tasks. They're not going to just let enemy soldiers just run across the battlefield.
Yeah.
I mean, you have men who are assigned to be on horses to take any stragglers and send them back to the front. So they're not going to let enemy soldiers just run through the lines. they're not going to let their own men just run around on the battlefield unescorted.
True.
Anyway, so yeah, some of these guys are going to shatter and go back to the man purple.
It's funny how that works, but I mean, not all of them are going to shatter. Most of them are going to surrender, I think.
Yeah, they have pretty good size. They should be captured. But it would be a better mechanic if, in a situation like this, completely surrounded, they just insta-surrendered.
Yeah, but how do you actually like quantify how in trouble are these guys? Like, they're really in trouble, but just how in trouble are they?
Well, the way that this was done in previous games is if there was no line from the unit to the supply point on the edge of the map, then things like half their combat power was gone, or
yeah,
they were instantly unsupplied and prone to surrender. Other games handled this, I thought, fairly well.
Yeah.
Avalon Hill or Strategy and Tactics, or if in almost every game, if you could not trace a line of hexes to your supply point, very bad things happen to the unit.
Of course, hexes and things like that are not really a thing here, but it seems like they could do better. There could be some kind of thing.
There is no line that you can draw from these units right now to the edge of the map. It's all cut off by your overlapping infantry.
Yeah, it is true. But of course, like, if you had really good morale on these units, you could potentially break through, like, one side or something like that. That's what I mean by how bad are they off. Because, like, just having an enemy, like, step onto your supply route and all your units suddenly surrender would just be stupid, because that's not how that works either. So
it didn't work that way in previous games.
But, like, if they just couldn't regain morale right now, maybe that would kind of make sense. But, like, then they would just automatically surrender. So, I can kind of understand why it's difficult to, like, put an amount on exactly how in trouble they are, because they could be getting reinforcements from behind like they are right now. And if your units aren't literally overlapping, do they just go, oh, well, then they're not in trouble at all? Because really, like, they were in trouble long before I had a complete surround on them. They were already very much so in trouble.
Yeah, historically, no Civil War unit would have done this. I think you see that you're completely surrounded. Because remember, these guys are just going to get paroled. Like, the unit's going to surrender, and then they're going to be paroled. They're not going off to prisoner of war camp at this point in the war. So you can stand there and die, or surrender and be paroled. And go home. So it's not. This is the American Civil War. And at this point in the war, you surrendered, and
we're not that bad of enemies.
It was embarrassing that some of these units got captured 2 and 3 times.
And there we go. They start chain surrendering now.
I do like that mechanic, that when units start surrendering, it affects everybody around them. But the commander's still alive.
Doesn't matter at this point.
Well, he's going to keep them in the surrendering a little longer.
Okay, yeah. He'll keep them coming back, but that just means they get more kills.
Yeah.
And, like, right now, I don't mind firing a few more shots at them. Because it doesn't hurt.
I did notice in my CSA campaign, when I was getting, like, tons of captures, and it looked like I wasn't grinding XP the way I wanted to, I started to think, maybe I should get a few less captures and a few more kills to get some more XP for my units. But I think the captures is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
the UI mod.
I'm not complaining about however many captures I get, but I'm just saying, like, firing a few more volleys into them
is not a bad thing.
Yeah. And it's a bunch of kills, so I mean, if you can grind some you grind some efficiency doing that. I don't know how well efficiency counts. For some reason, I feel like efficiency might not count the kills that you get from like carryover damage, the area damage. I don't know if that's actually true, but like collateral damage. I don't know if efficiency actually counts how many kills you get from collateral damage.
I don't know.
I almost feel like it doesn't, but I don't actually know. It's more like a feeling, though. Like, a lot of this is just feeling. Like, it feels like some of these units just get, like, tons of kills suddenly from, like, this. And then it's like, this unit just didn't gain as much as this other unit. Like, I wonder why that was. I think I'm trying to select their commander, and I can't, like, get a hold of him to fire. Because he's buried in there. So now it's time for move forward and attack.
Yeah, might as well.
I don't even think I have him charged, right? Did I just have him like... There we go.
Yeah, I will...
Because, yeah, that's their commander bringing them back. They've all surrendered several times.
Yeah.
And their commander's just like, no.
Yeah, what I'll do is these days I just pick a point, take a unit and pick a point on the other side of the melee and just say run there. Just keep running to that point right there on the other side of the melee.
Yeah, I'll oftentimes do that and like put them on hold fire and tell them to move across.
Yeah. Just run.
So it looks like their commander's gonna escape. Everybody else doesn't though.
Yeah, the second he's gone, they all give
up. And then I was like, oh my goodness, are you serious? All these units are like right there. I was so mad. I was like, please don't get him. And then see, this is part of the problem too. I just told 2 other units to like not go over there where these units are going to be spawning in now.
Oh, I was surprised to see that one guy pop out.
Wow, that is some amazing stuff right there. He is a magician. Look how many men there are there, though. I have so many men. Captured so many, too, but, like, all these units are just, like, all over each other.
Yeah, the reserve is coming onto the field. The strategic reserve.
Yeah, another 10,000 men, 20,000 men for no reason. Or maybe those are the same ones that came in earlier. I think I had them march south and then march north again, so I think those are the same ones.
Really? It looked like they just came in. It's 10:40.
I think everybody's on the field already.
So you only have 9 more hours in game.
Only 9 more hours.
Only 9 more?
No, it's 11 hours. Right?
I thought this ended at 1930. Did I get the wrong?
No, you're right. It's 1930. I was thinking 9:30, but it's 1930.
Yeah.
So only 9 more hours. A little under 9 hours left. And then I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys have
42s or
and
farmers.
Zero condition.
0 condition. They're all 1 stars instead of being my 2 stars. Almost every single unit in this battle is 2 stars. Except like these guys. Those ones that are like at the very top of the map running back and forth are 2 stars, probably.
These guys 1 star.
Yeah.
With 0 condition. And 42s.
And 42s, yeah.
The absolute worst units that could possibly be here.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the way it goes.
It is. And I'm like, you know, I've got all these other 2 stars doing things, and like these 2 stars would have been great over there. I mean, I don't need to move in behind these fjords or the I don't need to take this unit out right now. Like this unit would have just sat there in that fortification forever. I didn't need to come after him with 5 2-star units. all of these units could have easily, well, except the one on the other side of the river, but the other 4 could have been over there helping to take out these other units if I'd known what was going on. Warbob was one of the first units to come onto the field, and he's marched all the way from the north all the way to the south, and is in a not the right spot, basically. Like, I should have had him go over here and help out with this. Here we start taking shots, and it's just like, man, these guys are just gonna get roasted
in the open, getting hit with a 3-star unit, probably, who has Harper's Ferries.
Yeah. 5 units? 5 3-stars?
And artillery.
And a 2-star artillery? And I've got more than that, but not many more, and they're all 1-star exhausted. And finally gonna get some 2-stars over here, but it's a little late. And I was just worried that one of them was gonna charge, and it was just gonna like melt one of my units. I was gonna lose 1,000 men.
And there was a real possibility of that happening.
Yeah, I mean, 1-stars with no condition, you get melted by a 3-star charge infantry.
Particularly, Union infantry just.
Yeah.
He just get his head kicked in.
And I mean, none of my units have any melee at all. I mean, they are 42, so I guess those guns do have better melee stats than some, but still not great. Only 20 minutes left on the battle, so, and probably like 5 of that's after the battle, like just looking at the results. So
yeah,
pretty soon we're gonna have a very long skip. I don't remember what unit I leave alive. Maybe it's this one at the bridge. Finally captured that one. That was good. And like, my officers are like sitting in town. They should be down there with those 1-stars. Trying to help out.
Yeah, the placement of the officers is really crucial. Well, can be. Really tough fights, they can be a huge factor in keeping the men on the line.
Yeah. Very true.
And I've become a real fan of the, like in Washington, I gave all my commanders the speed and the flag commander perk for the corps commanders.
Yeah.
And I really like that flag. That really keeps guys in the battle.
Oh, taking less morale damage?
Yeah. That's a nice perk.
Yeah, but like, just not getting shot does the same thing.
Or hitting the enemy with overwhelming numbers.
Well, I mean
that also works.
That's part of not getting shot. Like, if you overwhelm them with numbers, they never get a chance to shoot you. I mean, you don't get shot. You're fine. No big deal. Yeah, but like that 42 just fired at that artillery unit and did like diddly squat to it from max range. You just cannot do damage to units with 42s at range. It just does not. They have some harsh language for the enemy, and that's about it.
That's about it. And CSA infantry 3-star does not care.
Well, I mean, I finally got that one to stop.
Well, you're hitting him from the flank.
Yeah, with 2 units, and hit him several times from several
angles, and
and it still took him that long to finally flash. Like, that took a while. It feels like it shouldn't have taken that long.
Yeah, if he had just plunged into one of your units, it'd have been a more painful outcome.
I believe that as well. But yeah, he ended up not having hardly anybody shattered. Like, there's one unit that looks like it's shattering right there, but there's very few other shattered units that seem to be running off the map. There's one down there, 1 or 2.
Yeah, by your commander.
Yeah, might have like 3 units that shattered, 4 units. There's another one. It's like 4 units. I don't know if I look afterwards to see exactly how many units shattered, but it's not very many. There's another one, I guess, all the way at the south, but
I don't know why the guy in the water hasn't surrendered by this point, but he's at 900. He might shatter.
Yeah.
But he's getting hit from 2 sides. You know, it might make him surrender is detaching
Melee.
skirmishers. But that would, yeah. But also detaching skirmishers and hitting him from even another angle.
Potential.
Get that detached skirmisher behind him. And, you know, hit him from 4 angles. Hit him.
Yeah.
You know,
Left, right, and
top,
center.
bottom, right. Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
And usually units will give up, even 3-star units.
Yeah.
You take a few of those. But yeah, he's at risk of, and he shouldn't. He's in the water. I'm always thinking how to get the capture rather than the shatter.
Yeah, it's always better to get that if you can. But we're taking a lot of shots here that I didn't want to take. And
I hate to put it this way, Union infantry taking losses is not as painful as CSA infantry.
yeah, it is. I agree, but at the same time, it's just like I wanted to be in a good spot here, and I just completely flubbed it. I thought it was over. I thought they didn't get any more reinforcements. I completely forgot about these guys, and that led to probably 1,000 losses down here that I didn't need to take.
Yeah,
that would be my guess.
Yeah, I'm guessing 1,000, but it's 1-star infantry, which
yeah.
If your CSA infantry takes 1,000 extra losses, that's painful. Union, not so much.
Yeah.
You're getting XP, you're getting kills, and all these losses are going to be more than replaced.
Yeah, but if you're trying to make it to 300,000 men by Richmond, like 1,000 men is a little painful. Like you're just like, man, like this is a place where I could have kept that from happening, and then I just lost another, like every single volley is like 60 men. Mm-hmm. It is painful. These units are absolutely deadly.
Yeah, and you're shooting it out with them in the open.
Yeah,
you're not in any.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I could fall back, but all these guys are exhausted. If I try to fall back, like, it's not going to work. Like, I can't just fall back.
Yeah, I noticed that right away you started maneuvering to get behind him, which was that was the right thing to do. But in the meantime,
yeah, some of my men are just taking losses.
They're just taking shots, and there's no way around it. The commander's coming up. He should be able to keep the 1-star units firing, because that's all you need him to do at this point. Stay in the battle.
Yeah.
While the 2 stars get behind him.
Got a couple more 2 stars coming down.
Yeah, this was a nice. Responding to situations like this is sometimes the most fun thing of the battle, where you actually get surprised and then you have to respond.
Yeah.
It's because you play every battle and everything's under control, and then all at once you're faced with a challenging situation, and when it's over you feel better about that because it was exciting.
Yeah, and it was a little bit exciting, and I didn't lose too much. I mean, if they had been like 2 stars, I wouldn't have lost hardly anything.
Yeah.
And then since they were 1 stars, the losses weren't really that painful. So it's like, was it really that bad?
Yeah,
like
it was,
that kind of is the end result of the whole thing. It's like, sure, you lost some 1 stars, but like if they were 2 stars, you wouldn't have lost that much, but whatever you did lose would have been 2 stars, and so you lost a few 1 stars, and you move on, and
it's great. And it was, you responded to the situation perfectly. So yeah, those are always some of the most rewarding, because otherwise you were just going to run in little circles, and that's not exciting at all.
I mean, the gaining of XP is just so beautiful.
Yes, it is.
But not very exciting.
But not very exciting. It's like while you're doing it, you're going, man, this is boring, this sucks, I don't want to do it. But then you go to camp and you see the result and you go, oh, that was terrific. So it's a huge payoff, but pretty boring while you're doing it.
Yeah. It's especially bad if you get to the end of a battle and you're like, man, I really think that I could have done better. I should refight this battle. And you're like, I just spent 2 hours running units in circles, and you're like,
yeah, and I'm gonna do it again,
and now I'm gonna do it again. Do I do that? And then the answer is, for me, yeah, sure, let's do this.
For me, in the Union
once.
The answer is yes.
Once,
And
not
I've
twice. I don't do it more than once usually, because start getting up there in times, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this is. Look at those skirmishers. They are absolutely the slowest skirmishers in the history of skirmishers. I told them to attach to that unit, and while it was like by the edge of the water, it ran away faster than they can catch up to it, and now they're that far behind. It's like, what are you guys doing? It's like that's the only way to get a skirmisher to walk, is to tell it to reattach to a unit.
Yeah.
Because if you have it just walk, they only run.
Mm-hmm.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, there are a few changes that could be made.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got these guys surrounded now.
So we probably took, it's probably about 1,000 losses total, but that's really not that bad. Could have been much worse.
And actually, for these 1-star units, getting kills might be better than capturing these guys, because they need XP. These 1-star units desperately need XP. And unfortunately, the enemy's in a clump of woods.
Yeah, but that just means you get more kills.
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
more shots on them.
More shots, yeah. That's right.
And they're less likely to surrender. They're more likely to take some more hits.
Which were these 1-star units? That's a good thing.
Yeah. Of course, the units down here at the bottom, 2 of them are 2 stars, but hopefully we'll be able to. And then I guess that guy just barely touched Brooks, and he was like, oh, I'm done. I'm like, okay, sure, I don't mind. You can be done. We'll capture, whatever, doesn't matter. Capture, kill, both. Got him completely surrounded, so it doesn't really matter at this point.
Well, you only have, 8 more hours in game.
Only 8 more hours.
So don't let them get away.
Yeah, I know. They didn't even. That guy didn't even have to touch. He was just like, I see Brooks. I'm done.
Well, he took a shot from both east and west.
Yeah.
From 2 sides, and that's always bad. And he didn't have a commander to bring him back.
Yeah. No commander, no artillery left, no cav, no nothing. There's like.
And taking shots from multiple sides. Yeah.
Yep.
He's done.
And he's got no real supporting troops at this point, so I mean, just the fact that like if there are units anywhere on the battlefield that have like full condition, full morale, everybody's just less likely to surrender.
Yeah. And if units nearby are surrendering, they're more likely to surrender.
Yeah. The more units that are lower on morale, the more likely it is for units to start surrendering. And then it just kind of snowballs.
There, he just touched him. Your unit, and he surrendered.
Yep. That's all it takes.
Yeah, these guys are probably going to route in a direction because your guys are so close.
Nope. There's no way they can get out of this. I mean, they could try to route in a direction, but they're just going to get captured.
Yeah, as soon as they touch any of your units, they'll probably give up.
Yeah.
As long as they hit one at a time.
So, still got 57 minutes left on the regular battle. And I'm not even sure if this is the last phase. I think it is. But we've already skipped at least 2 hours earlier. So
well, you have 8 more hours in game, so...
Well, I'm just saying about the regular timeline of the battle.
Oh, yes, that's right. You did skip 2 hours because you...
skipped at least 2 hours of one phase.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, this phase was supposed to start at 11 o'clock and last for 4 hours. So I am 3 hours ahead of schedule, basically. Because I have an hour left and it was supposed to start at 11 o'clock.
So, how much grinding of stamina can you do in 8 more hours in game?
AP Hill wasn't supposed to arrive until 13:30.
Wow. He came in real early.
Yeah. 3 hours?
Because you triggered an early arrival.
Yep.
Yep, and there's everybody on run.
Yep. I think this is the end, right? Is this the end? No, this is still not the end.
11:30? No.
No, I mean...
Ooh, that's a little scary. You don't want that guy to... Well, I think you... Does the battle end if you kill everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't want to kill this guy. I would
Yeah.
turn all my artillery off.
Problem is that I also don't want him to get into my artillery.
Oh, he will actually retreat to the south corner of the map. If you let him go, he'll go south.
Kind of. I have units down here that could push him, like, in between these two groups of infantry. They could push him into the artillery there, is what I was worried about.
Yeah, I'd put all these guys on hold fire. Just let him go south.
He's taken forever to get around that.
Because he always wants to go south, and I'd let him go. But yeah, if you kill him, I think the battle's over.
Yeah, it would be. There's only one battle that I know of that if you kill all the enemies, it goes on. It's that one battle earlier in the Union campaign.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my goodness, seriously? Like, what is wrong with this game? You've captured all the points, you've killed every single enemy, and it's just like, nope, you go to the end of the time, unless you hit finish.
What I think when that happens is, oh, I wish every battle was like this.
Yeah, like, either every battle should be like that,
and it should,
because, like, why not? Like, the amount of experience that you gain shouldn't be capped on the fact that you killed them too fast. Like, what sense does that make? Like, I would love it if, like, you capturing everybody early just meant that you had all that rest of the time. Like, you should at least gain the morale from it, from the full time of the battle, because it's not fair just to, like, have killed them faster and suddenly you lose out on the experience.
In every other game I've played, if you get the victory locations or in the battle early, you get huge rewards. This is the one battle that punishes you for doing well.
Yeah.
And sometimes even gives you a draw or a defeat if you do too well too fast, which makes no sense at all. I think there should be like extra reputation or extra weapons or, you know, something if you get early victories to encourage you to go after the enemy. Not, you shouldn't be incentivized to drag the thing out. That's never been a thing in military history. And in every game I've played, every single game I've played, you got rewarded for moving faster, wiping the enemy out, pushing them off pieces of terrain. Know what I mean? I mean,
oh yeah. It doesn't make any sense that you actually, in some ways, it feels like you get punished for actually doing better.
Yeah, that's always been a thing about the game that never made any.
So here I push him in the corner. I think I might end this a little early. I think I thought it ended at 1900. Which doesn't really matter.
It is going to end about 1900, so you were right.
I mean, I ended it at 1900, I think, but
it could have gone on to 1930.
Yeah, I think so.
That is some beautiful marching in formation, pass and review victory.
Yeah.
There's the general. The general has his viewing stand, visiting dignitaries, watching the army pass and review.
Yeah, and it's just about the. Yeah, and then he shatters, or I kill him, or whatever. So what is this? 76,000, 76,000. Maths, hard stuff.
But you almost got as many captures as kills, and beautiful result.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shatters of infantry. Everybody else was captured.
Lovely.
So that one unit got 433 kills and no losses. That's always nice to see.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Get a bunch of major generals, a bunch of lieutenant generals. That's what, 6 or 7 lieutenant generals?
That's nice.
Yeah, that's
yeah. The officer duplicate program is
in full swing.
In full swing and very rewarding.
Yeah.
Look at all those 2 stars.
I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I got that many generals. Tyler, Texas.
Do you see the McClellan brothers there? You had 2 McClellans.
Oh yeah, they're all duplicates. 11,000 Tyler, Texases I got.
Oh, that's painful.
It's like, what? Ever. It does. It really does. I mean,
you know why? Here's why. Because you can use the Harper's Ferries all the way through Richmond.
But Tyler, Texas are not.
You're going to sell those, so they're just good for cash, and they're not going to be able to buy when you sell them. You're not going to get 1-for-1 Tyler for Harper's Ferries. So, yeah, that's the right play. Make sure your top corps is full, so that you have a division with an extra unit.
Problem is that I don't actually get it because I wasn't at. You have to be at 9 Army org to get the 1 extra brigade.
Oh,
the 6 brigades.
You didn't have 9. You didn't have.
No,
I didn't.
I missed it.
Yeah. It's got to be 5 in every division.
6 in every division.
6 in every division, so you get the extra 1.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you'll lose it as soon as you go. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. I mean, you don't lose it because once you go to the next one, then you just have 6 in all of them.
Yes.
So you don't lose anything, but you don't gain the 1 extra unit that you could possibly have.
Yeah, you want to have 25 units in 1 corps, and this is how you do it. That hurts.
Yeah. It does a little, but I mean, it's not as bad as it could be. I'm gonna go ahead and pause, and I will put in the numbers into the spreadsheet, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and so here's my result. Got 13-1 after medicine.
Nice.
Lost 4% of my forces I brought. This is obviously still wrong. Like, I don't know what I did wrong with this line, but my losses percents are not 24%. It's 4%. Brought 130,000. They brought 77.5 approximately. Captured almost as many as killed, like you said. 73,000 total kills. 5,000. Well, this is not right. Let's see. How do I do this? So it goes there. So it's like 0.1. So 4,800 losses approximately. Oh wait, it's actually higher now. It's like it's that. So 4,500 losses. That's not bad.
That's really good.
And if I include the fact that I lost a couple men on a couple of my officers, I probably lost more like 4,500, a little under 4,500. That brought up my ratio after med to 16 now.
Wow.
So killed 94%. Only 6 infantry units shattered. So that's a good amount.
That's a huge result.
3.42% losses. That's nice. Yeah. We can look at. I put in yours too. 6-1, still good. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this is an example of like, you know, a normal army that you brought. 46,000 men, normal kind of size, only faced 58,000. So I faced an extra 20,000 men compared to you.
And I was using mixed. I mean, I don't think there's any question at this point that the massive army, oversized infantry unit strategy is superior to anything else.
Yeah.
I was using the combined arms, mixed army, lots of artillery. It's fun, but you're not going to get the same results. And also, look what it does to scaling. By driving down scaling, you're not going to grind the XP for your army. So, yeah. And of course, I didn't buy any men with reputation, didn't put any points into politics. and all of those things are beneficial for the campaign.
Yeah,
So,
but you could not put any points into politics, put like all your points into economy and medicine, and not have
yeah,
any politics at the end of the war and be just fine.
and I did that in both my major general and legendary campaign for
Yeah.
the Union. It was absolutely, you don't need politics.
Yeah, but like you could still have a much bigger army than what you had. You had a bunch of men in your manpower pool that you weren't using.
Oh, I was intentionally trying to stay under scaling, and that is not the way to go at all.
Yeah.
You want to outscale. You want to go into, how many men did I come in here with? Like
46.
Yeah, 46,000. Felt like an easy battle.
Yeah, but like you bring 46,000 and face 60. I bring 130,000 and face 77. So the ratios just don't match up. Like I bring 3 times more men than you do and face only a third more.
And you get so much more XP for your army, and you're going to have a much stronger army the rest of the campaign.
Right.
So the large army strategy is, for this game, it is definitely the way to win the campaign. I'm absolutely convinced.
Yeah. I've been convinced since like way back when, but that's the bandwagon I've been on since I started playing.
Yeah, since the beginning, and I've completely swung over to
Let's
being
see.
a true believer.
And I really probably haven't faced all that many. Let's just delete those off for just a second. Let's see. 450,000 men that you've faced so far, like at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I faced 577, so I faced over 100,000 more men than you,
Which is a good thing. That's 100,000 more XP and captured weapons.
but I have, let's
3 times the size. Your army's 3 times bigger.
delete all these too. Okay, so like you've killed 330,000. I've killed 526,000.
Look at all that XP.
I've lost 47,000 men, and you've lost 29,000 men. So you've lost quite a few less men than I have. Or no, that's the other way around. You lost 47,000. I lost 29,000. So I've lost 17,000 fewer men, killed 200,000 more men,
Which is enormous, yeah.
and faced 100,000 more men.
Absolutely.
So,
Large army, buy men with reputation.
I mean, you don't even have to buy men with reputation. Like, I would say that in all reality, you don't need all of that put in. Like, you just build the biggest army that you can with the men that you have. All the reputation could go to buying guns. I'm only doing that to, like, just try to make a 300,000 man army at the end. Like, that's mostly just for the memes.
Yeah. Well, just have a goal. I mean, just something to work toward. But I think the extra men with reputation is good before Malvern Hill. Makes the campaign much easier. It'll reduce your losses, make the battles easier. After Malvern Hill, it's just for the giggles. I mean, it's just,
you've already got so many men at that point. Like, having more men just makes it where it's harder to even build artillery units.
Yeah, well, it does.
Yeah.
You run out of unit slots.
Yeah. I'm gonna run out of unit slots for sure.
Yeah, my brigadier general massive army campaign, I hit 200,000. It was annoying. Where are you going to put them all?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% ran into that at Washington.
Yes,
having 200. Yes. Well, I could make an army of 240,000 and still have some artillery units, but the extra 8,000 men that I got from reputation was like, I don't have a place for this. I'd have to like just straight up get rid of 20-pound parrots just to have a unit slot for this. And it's like, that's on the CSA campaign. On the Union campaign, you get like 5 times more 20-pound parrots.
Yes.
So
and they're powerful. You don't want to get rid of those.
I mean, I'm gonna have to at some point. Like, if I continue down this strategy, like, of basically not bringing any artillery to battles, like, I'm gonna have to like basically not have any artillery in my army by the end of it, because I've already gotten to the point where I have like 3 full corps of 2,500 men like after this battle.
Well, the good news is you can win Richmond without artillery.
You can beat any battle without artillery with relatively reasonable losses that I've seen. Maybe you can't do it at
Muleshoe might suffer some heavy losses if you don't have artillery, but by that point, I don't think it's going to matter. Your army is going to be so massive. I don't think it's going to.
But even like Laurel Hill, I still did it with relatively light losses with mostly not artillery. Like I did have like 4 units of 20-pound parrots, but like you get like a full corps for that battle. So 4 units of artillery and 20 units of infantry. Well, I think I had 2 or 3 skirmishers as well. But like you can do relatively well, really light on auxiliary units, as long as you like are willing to take the battle slow, think through your entire strategy, and you're willing to like mess with the AI a little. Like you have to be willing to like do some things that are a little bit on the shady side of just because like it just takes that to get low losses with a high infantry count. You got to be really methodical. Well, we've gone for 2.5 hours. I think it's.
Oh man, that's a long time. Viewers are going to tune out. So
I might have to like just like split it in half and like put an intro in the middle of it.
Yeah, good
probably. Idea. Well, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Well, this has been a blast. Hope you guys have had as much fun as I've had. I'll see you again in the next episode. You guys have a good one,